Hi everyone, Aspergers Sadie from Twitter here, or you can visit my website at www.ihaveaspergers.webs.com. This video is more going to be about the things that really bothered me during school, and it's just a small list of things. Because as you know, I have Asperger's and I'm 22. I was diagnosed when I was in 10th grade when I was about 15 or 16. So I'm going to go ahead and basically just name a bunch of things that I can really truly remember being issues with me that were never fully resolved or anything like that, and people don't seem to think about when they think of, okay, Asperger's or autism in high school or middle school or elementary school, because they're not as big of problems, it seems like. So first thing was feet kicking my chair. People resting their feet on the back of my chair, like underneath where you would store the books and stuff like that, or even just on the seat itself. People would just put their feet up, and I could feel it. I could feel the vibrations on my chair, and I could not focus. It's basically, imagine, sitting in, a chair that vibrates, but only every once in a while. It's just very distracting. So that was one thing. Another thing, if I were ever to rest my head because I was feeling really overwhelmed and I just needed, to take a sensory break, I guess you could call it, close my eyes, just kind of close out the world for a moment. The sounds, when I would do that, when I would rest my head on the desk, I could hear the sounds like crazy, and it was just 10 times worse sometimes. So, in the lunchroom type of thing, resting my head on the table, it'd be banging and, clanging and stuff like that, people kicking and stuff like that. So, just those things really, really got to me sometimes. The bells, that is a trigger for me. School bells are very, very loud, and they're high-pitched, or, they're just, they're unexpected. And you can't prepare yourself for them. I would actually, I remember looking at my watch, and I would not want to change my watch ever, because I knew the exact second that bell would ring, because it was on a specific schedule. And so that way I could prepare myself for that bell to ring. Not only that, but I would do that so that I could know exactly the moment I was allowed to leave the classroom and start my transition over to the next classroom, because there just wasn't enough time between classes to do things. I had to go to my locker, I had to get a drink of water, I had to use the bathroom, and not only that, but the classes were, all the way on one side, all the way on the other side. You have to go through a whole crowd of kids to get there, and it's very overwhelming, to think about that, just to have, and you would have only a couple minutes to do whatever you needed to do before the next class started. And then the teacher would expect you to have all of your stuff ready and out and prepared as soon as that bell rang when that class started, to start the class. And it was, and then they wouldn't let you pack up until the bell rang, for you to go. So it was, very, very difficult, and I feel like it was a little, just high expectations from the teachers on that end. The other thing, a heavy backpack. Come on, people. We were little kids. We shouldn't be carrying 50 pounds of books. Okay, maybe not even 50, maybe 30. Still, we shouldn't be carrying half of our body weight in books on our back. That probably is not healthy for a back. So, but I do remember it digging into my shoulders and, having to, pick it up. And the thing was, at least I probably carried more stuff in my backpack than I needed to, because, I'm the type of person who carries everything with me so that, I don't forget it, or I'll always have that little, sentimental thing with me, so I can just kind of grab it and just go, man, okay, The other thing was, it took me a little bit longer to read books or, passages in books and stuff in the classroom. So they would say, okay, everyone read this passage, and then we're going to talk about it. Well, I would maybe get, halfway through, and then they would say, okay, everyone, we're going to talk about it now. And everyone else would be ready, and I would still be halfway through. So I would be lost in the whole, lesson anyways. So That was another thing that kind of bothered me, was that, I really didn't have, I was really left out when it came to those things, just because I couldn't read as fast and process the information fast enough. That's probably why it took me so long to read, was because I couldn't process all the information I was reading. Let's see, the lights, way too bright. They were, hello, they're fluorescent lighting, and it's, it basically is washing out the room. The walls are white. The lights are white. The floor can be white. It's all very, very bright, and I loved when people turned off the lights on, like, a hot day or whatever, and they were like, oh, let's turn off the lights and cool it down. And it's just like, I liked it because it cooled down my sensory system. It was just kind of like, nice and calm and, dark, and it was just nice when they turned off the lights. But when the lights went on, especially, after, watching a movie or something like that, and they would just flick on the lights real quick, and I'm like, wow, that hurts. And, you think, well, that would hurt anybody. Well, think about, for me, I was like looking into the sun real quick, and it was like, it hurts, The other thing I really remember was, there was, at my school, there was a flagpole, and it was like, there was a really big flag on it, and I'm sure every school has a flag and everything. So the problem with it is that it bangs. The metal on the flag, there's the little metal rings and the hooks that attach it to the string that you pull to bring it up and down. It bangs on the pole so much that it's just like clang, 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 and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying, and it's just very, it distracts me, and it's another one of those sensory things where it's just like, oh my god, I can't get away from it. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the smell. Schools smell terrible, okay? People have, like, no concept of, deodorant or, cleanliness in school. I don't know why, but kids just do not like to wash themselves, and, or there's way too much of deodorant, such as, I'm not going to name any brands or anything, but certain brands which are a lot stronger than others, and they would, the kids would do, like, jokes and spray them just for the fun of it. Oh my god, it was awful when that happened. I had to cover my nose because it was so bad. I couldn't breathe. Some people are actually allergic to it too, so they had problems with that in my school. And then the last thing with the smell, people smoking in the bathrooms. People smoke at school. They do it. Duh, okay? Schools, if you don't think that kids are smoking on your property, you're oblivious to it, because it is going to happen. Kids go into the bathroom, they lock the door, and they pull out a cigarette and they smoke. And you leave the bathroom, and then I come in, I can smell it, it smells like an ashtray. You see the ashes on the toilet seat. It's ridiculous. So, that was one thing that really bothered me that, they didn't do anything about, and it's like, well, okay, that's not cool. So those are the main things I can really remember right now that really stood out as issues for me when I was going to school. Again, you can follow me at Aspergers Sadie on Twitter, and visit my website, www.ihaveaspergers.webs.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.